We joked, like, if I know anything about this campaign, we'll get it at exactly the right time. And then we get on Joe Rogan. We go there in February.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So, universal basic income. I made a big shift. My initial knee-jerk reaction was, get the fuck out of here. Like, universal basic income, just going to give people money. They're just going to be lazy. Nothing's ever going to get done. That's a terrible idea. And then I started paying attention.
2 days later, the DNC announces their requirements for the first debate. So the next thing you know, we've got Rogan people. We qualify for the debate before like 75% of the field. Like it's like Bernie, Warren, Kamala, Yang.
You got some major heavy hitters on the stage, including yourself. I'll give you your own. The most unique person on the stage.
We had never debated before. It's not a debate. Nothing we could have done would have prepared us for that. Nothing.
I was 6 years old when a presidential candidate came to the California Democratic Convention and said, it's time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans. That candidate was then Senator Joe Biden. He's still right today. If we're going to solve the issues of automation, pass the torch.
I'm still holding on to that torch.
In order to win a debate, you have to be a lot of the things Andrew Yang is not. You have to be combative.
Senator Harris, I'm so sorry. We will let all of you speak. Senator Harris.
You have to steal the limelight. You have to attack people.
I accept responsibility for that because I'm in charge.
Policy, you should fire the chief.
Under Indiana law, this will be investigated.
When you're the mayor, you should fire the chief.
You have to crush people that you don't even necessarily disagree with.
I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. It was hurtful to hear you talk about two United States senators who built their reputations on the segregation of race in this country.
You're not praised racist. That is not true.
You need to be showman. You need to be salesy. Like all the things, Andrew, that we love Andrew because he is not. That's what a great debater is.
It's part of Joe's generation.
What was it actually like, human to human, being on that stage in this really fake place where you have to make your case? I mean, what is that experience actually physically like?
How many of you were in high school play? It really is quite like that.
I was taken a little bit off guard by all of this.
To say I am enraged is an understatement.
This frustrates me.
Looking back after those 2 nights, it's clear the 3 or 4 candidates they want and the ones they don't.
Last night was the debate. This shows all of the participants and how much airtime they got. Yang is literally at the very bottom, and they only asked him about 2 things, one of which was China. Kind of really frustrating, because this is a guy who actually has more to say on all of these topics. We're still like 200 days from the Iowa caucuses, so we've got plenty of time, but this wasn't the breakout moment that we wanted. But guys, this is the first of many debates. We're already qualified for 2 more, and in the 3rd debate, it'll be less people. I don't know, man. I'm not really happy with the media at the moment, but this campaign was never going to be easy. The fact that he can match Buttigieg and Harris in comparable in search activity, even though he had just a fraction of their airtime, tells me that this is a high potency candidate and he just needs a little bit more oxygen, and then we'll light this up.
I was first really introduced to you in the last debate. He spoke less than 3 minutes, but you have some very dedicated followers. They call themselves the Yang Gang. Supporters wear hats that have math written across the top, make America think harder.
I found you on YouTube. I'm just looking for who else was doing this, and I found 10. How'd you find them?
So I was just like hanging out with my family, and my dad was like, did you see the Democratic? And I was like, no, I didn't. He was like, I was really annoyed that the Asian guy only got asked 2 questions. I got so annoyed that I sent a note in to MSNBC and I donated more to his campaign. And I was like, interesting. I'm not really political, so I don't really care. But then that got me to just search for him on YouTube. And then I saw Joe Rogan and I saw a whole bunch of interviews and a light bulb switched off in my head. I'm like, this guy needs more exposure. We need this guy as president.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wait, really?
I joined like in the beginning of July after the first debates.
I only get involved in politics when it's something that I'm very excited about. So here are the 10 reasons why I am a big supporter of Andrew Yang. He is solution oriented.
You know what I love about you, Andrew? I love the fact that you're up here discussing solutions and not problems. You're not running on a anti-Trump campaign. You actually have ideas.
The way he speaks is almost bipartisan.
Most Americans feel like the political parties have been playing you lose, I lose for years. And you know who's been losing this entire time? We have.
Because he really only cares about one thing, which is making our lives better.
It's not irrational to wash your hands of politics because it's so infuriating and everything seems so ineffective. One of the big fears I have is that politics has become this drama of characters rising and falling, but none of the real problems get solved.
He makes a lot of sense, and he has the data to back it up.
Andrew, I think you might be in the wrong profession because you're making way too much sense.
He's not a politician.
I grew up in Washington, D.C. I grew up around politicians. I'm sort of born very cynical about politicians. Hearing you on Joe Rogan was such a breath of fresh air.
At the end of the day, people want someone who has integrity.
So it's up to the American people to decide what kind of background they want. But I would suggest that the American people have been casting about for some kind of change agent for years.
And isn't part of this whole big corrupted system.
Donald Trump wins on that. But then you see Bernie Sanders and even Barack Obama's election in 2008. You can see the American people have been hungry for some sort of accelerant to help catch up and modernize our government.
The fact that someone running for president could even talk for 3 hours without, seeming like they're full of shit or disingenuous. I am such a big fan of yours.
He has a real platform. A lot of other candidates just sound like angry anti-Trump activists, not really working toward fixing things. It's just basically pandering to what they think their party wants to hear.
Donald Trump is not the cause of all of our problems, and we're making a mistake when we act like he is.
That's right.
He is a symptom of a disease that has been building up in our communities for years, and it is our job to get to the harder work of actually curing the disease.
He is a genuine person. He never tries to be someone that he's not. He never tries to pretend. He's always very earnest, honest, and that's what I love about him.
I'm not running for president because I fantasized about ever being president. I'm running for president because I'm an American and I'm a parent, and I can see the country we will leave to our children. And it is not something that I'm willing to accept.
He actually cares about people.
I'm afraid that the way of life for millions, tens of millions of Americans is disintegrating in real time. And then you imagine what's happening in those households, but also in those human beings.
He lives in the 21st century.
Our data is now more valuable than oil. Did you get your data check in the mail? Because there are companies that are profiting to the tune of billions of dollars off of our information. And that's the nature of the 21st century economy. This is not us getting something for nothing. This is actually our getting what we should be getting as the owners and shareholders of the richest country in the history of the world.
So this is one of the things that I am the most impressed by. His ideas are also relevant, and they're aimed to prepare us for the fast-changing future.
We are 24 years behind on technology. And I can say that with authority because we got rid of the Office of Technology Assessment in 1995. Think about that timing. I guess they thought they'd invented everything.
He is actually looking at the problems that we have right now and looking at solutions that will help prepare us the best for the future to come. And that's what I want in someone who's going to lead this country in the right direction.
Are you sure you want this job? You see what happens to a president of the United States. You got a beautiful family that you love taking care of. You've been successful 100 different ways. You're a young man. Do you really want jackals like me coming at you on a 24/7 basis about everything you do and eat?
There are two approaches to a problem. Someone else will take care of it, or you're going to have to take care of it yourself. And unfortunately, the first one doesn't work. So we're facing some of the biggest problems for your kids and mine. And if no one else is going to take care of them, then I'm very happy to step up and do all I can.
Whenever I see an interview of him talking about his wife and his family, it makes my heart melt how he talks about the GDP, values his wife, who is a stay-at-home mom to 2 kids, at 0. Whereas he actually thinks she is doing more valuable work than he is. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whatever you are, you still have value. You still need to be respected for the work that you do and what you're contributing, beyond just making a good paycheck. He is the only Democratic candidate right now who is willing to have a conversation on a Republican media outlet.
And so we appreciate the conversation. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm sure that you will get some slings and arrows for it.
Well, I hope I can set a trend. Like, I hope I'm the first but not the last.
And whenever he does, it doesn't like spiral into this anti-Trump rhetoric, which is just not productive. I don't care how much you hate Trump. That is not going to get us out of the bind that we're in right now.
Half of the workers left the workforce and never worked again, and then half of that group filed for disability. What happened to the manufacturing workers is now going to happen to the truck drivers, retail workers, call centers, fast food workers, and on through the economy as we evolve and technology marginalizes the labor of more and more Americans.
He is always level-headed. He answers the questions with a lot of respect.
You're one of the only people I've ever met who's honest about the effects of deindustrialization.
The conversations always, they actually always go pretty well.
That's why I'm running for president, Tucker, is I think it would be insane to just sit back and watch this automation wave overtake our communities and our economy. We need to get with the program and figure out how to actually make this economy work for people.
I sit with my jaw open. I agree with you so strongly.
Because you can't argue with things that actually just make sense.
We have a series of bad numbers, and I referred to GDP as one. Certainly the headline unemployment rate is completely misleading. Yes. And one of my mandates as president is I'm going to update the numbers so they actually make sense to the American people.
Yes. So we can know what's going on. Otherwise, you can't make wise decisions.
Yeah, right now, again, and you know this, our life expectancy has declined for the last 3 years, first time in 100 years because of a surge in suicides and drug overdoses. How can you say an economy is healthy when our people are dying? It makes no sense.
I literally couldn't. I don't even know what you think on the other issues, and I just support what you said so much. I appreciate your coming on.
Thank you, Tucker. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
He will beat Trump.
The only thing I worry about is that some total unknown that nobody ever heard of comes along.
Because Yang is basically addressing all of the things that Trump supporters wanted to be addressed.
You talk a lot in the book, The War on Normal People, about these people who are in the middle of the country and whose talents are sort of being left behind, their jobs are sort of being left behind. There's a feeling that President Trump won specifically because the Democratic Party largely forgot about those folks.
To me, there's a very powerful central economic narrative where if you look at the voting district data, there's literally a straight line up between the adoption of industrial automation in an area and the movement towards Donald Trump. And so to me, Democrats need to try and address that set of problems.
Talking about automation is key to winning the general election, and that's why Andrew Yang would actually be a really good general election candidate.
When you spend time in the Midwest and the South, you see the aftermath of the fact that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa.
Battleground states, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan.
You go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Clinton, and you will see devastation where manufacturing is down 30, 40, sometimes 50%.
All of the places that have been hit hardest by automation, also the swing states that Hillary Clinton lost.
You know, I just got like deeper into the whole Yang Gang community, and I discovered that the Yang Gang community is so incredibly amazing. Like literally it's, I think, the most positive, supportive online community you will ever find.
Yes, I totally agree.